Did you know there was a little unknown battle of the Revolutionary War less than 10 miles from my house? Well, neither did I. Let's check it out. Hello everybody and welcome back to my channel. This is Paul Knapp coming to you not from the man cave. I am coming to you from Chesapeake, Virginia, which is about 10 miles from my house. And we are located on this waterway here, this intercoastal waterway, where a little unknown battle of the Revolutionary War took place. And I've only discovered this the last 2 years living here. And this is the 250th anniversary of the battle, 2025. So I thought, why not come down, check out the museum, and possibly make a playset. So let's go in and see what we can find. Okay, so I'm in the museum right now, and I just got a short description of the map from back in the day. This would have been the fort, the hastily built fort, I believe it was Fort Murray. This is the actual bridge that the planks were taken out of. This is the causeway. This would have been all swamp area over here, both sides. And here are the breastworks, if you will, the redoubts that the militia put right before the town of Great Bridge. So the battle really didn't take place much on the bridge. It took place more on the causeway, and they never did get into town. And there was other Minutemen on this side that got flanking fire onto the causeway as the British were crossing. So it's going to be interesting how I'm going to make this playset. Okay, so just leaving the museum, I got a lot of information in there. Individual in there was very helpful and telling me a lot. This causeway that you see here, it actually didn't exist. This is an intercoastal waterway. This wasn't even here at the time. This would have been all swampland. And actually across the way, so this drawbridge wasn't even here. across the way is actually where the causeway would have been, and then further up north would have been the actual bridge. So, but this gives me some idea on how to set this playset up. Okay, so this is a better picture of what it would have looked like. This is the causeway now with the drawbridge that everybody's familiar with down in this area. I'm standing right here, heading towards what would have been the site of the British side, which would have been the fort over here. And this would have been the wooden bridge at the time, which we're trying to recreate. Marshlands on both sides. And I'm assuming somewhere in here would have been the barrier, or possibly here, breastworks it says. So I guess maybe the breastworks actually on that side before Great Bridge Town. Okay, so they have a little demonstration here on what the causeway would have looked like. This would have been the area after the bridge. So it would have been like wood planks on the sides. They have crushed shells. So it would have been shell with these borders of timbers. And down here they give you a breakdown of what it would look like underneath all this shell. You can see it's kind of more timbers. And they would have filled that in with all types of oyster shells and what have you. We're right by the water. But yeah, so this is what the causeway would have looked like. And they said it was only wide enough to fit 6 soldiers side by side marching. So you can see how they were funneled down into such a small area, making easy targets. Normally the British would have 20 to 30 in a line, and here they had 6. So the marksmen from the Minuteman had no problem taking them out as they came across the causeway. Okay, so now that you have a little history on the Battle of Great Bridge, let me show you my game plan for putting this playset together. So first off, we have a bridge, and this is the closest bridge I could find to the Battle of Great Bridge bridge. And it is the LOD bridge, originally made by Barzo, and it hooks together, as you can see. But it comes in 3 pieces. It's very large, but it's the closest bridge that I could find that actually looked like the Great Bridge bridge. So we're gonna go with that. And again, I believe this is the Lexington Concord playset that was made years ago, but the bridge is still being made out of foam. So that's the first piece. Second off, I thought, how am I going to come up with some water and have it that wide and still be able to fit in the playset box? So I had this piece here, and in this, I want to say this is Lexmark, I believe. Comes out at Halloween or at Christmas. You can find it at Michael's. So I'm going to heat this up with a heat gun, and that's going to flatten out. And that should be wide enough just so I can put some water under there to separate the 2 sides of the river. Next off, we have our MDF board, which I always use under my playset boards that I make. It's just a real thin MDF board. And again, we're going by the box size that I ordered. And this should be, once I put these together, you're looking at 16 by 28. And we're gonna have 2 of these for our playset. I'm not sure if I'm going to do 1 on each side of the water or 2 on the same side. Next up, we have 2 BMC houses. This is the General Meade's house, I believe, headquarters. And this one is the French house, destroyed house from the D-Day playset. You can buy these through BMC, and you can buy this one, I believe, through Americana. But what I'm going to do is actually cut these in half, both sides, so I can create two houses actually. Same with this. I'm going to cut this in half and have two houses. And lastly, these are the figures and accessories I plan on using. There were only 2 cannons in the battle, so that's easy. I'm using some Mark's Frontier family for the townspeople. I have some Conte British wounded. They're going to be on the bridge. We have some Mark's reissue farm accessories we're going to use for the town. This is some no-name brand, off-brand stuff that I'm going to use, again, for the town. The figures that I'm using are all HAT, H-A-T. These are Prussian blue, Austrian musketeers, Austrian command, and this is Austrian grenadiers. I'm going to paint them all red. And then we have the Paul Revere figures that are also going to look like townspeople. So those are all the figures I'm going to use. Again, I'm going to paint some blue for the Americans and some red. When I say paint, I just mean spray paint, so they're not white. That's the extent of my painting. Finally, we have the pink foam, and this is just the 1-inch thick pink foam that's going to go get mounted to the board. And that's really the first thing that we do to start off with this playset. So I've run into my first dilemma. I have the boards cut. I did not glue these together yet, but they will be. The question I have is, do I put foam on this side, water, foam on this side, and then I'm going to cut out this so it's inlaid a little bit. If this side is the militia side, there's going to be 2 houses over here, here and here, which is going to be kind of tight. Or do I design it in such a way where both boards will be on one side, which gives me a much larger town area. I could put the 2 houses a little further apart, but that leaves me nothing on this side other than the ramp piece. I kind of like this because this gives you a lot more area to put the British and the Americans, and just show the British crossing the bridge. Most of the fighting took place on this side anyhow, and up to the causeway. So I'm leaning towards this, but I just don't like the way this is going to look. I think I still need to put come up with some type of small strip on that side. What I could do is take this 4 inches here that's not attached yet, possibly use that over here, and see what that looks like. The third option, I think I like this the best. I might take this 4-inch piece, just enough to have a little bit on this side. I could put some rock build up here to match this, cut the foam and inlay that. You'd only see this little piece coming off the back, but you're not going to be gaining much on this side anyhow. Most of your action is going to take place here and going into the city. So that gives me this piece for foam, this piece for foam, and then 1 4-inch piece on this side just to hold the water down on that side. I think it gives it a better look. I have to make the decision now before I go ahead and glue the foam down. So this is where I'm stuck right now. Wish I had more input from you guys. While I'm letting this ponder, I'm going to work on these houses. Now, my thought process on this was to be able to get 2 half houses out of both of these. So what I'm going to do, I'll take these 2 short ends, and I'm going to cut these in half. Same with the red house. I'm going to take those, cut them in half. And then when I put them up, I'll have the half and half and 1 long side. Let me set that up, show you what it looks like. So if you can picture this cut in half, I'll put the roof back on here, and this will be more of a backdrop, and you're only going to get half a house anyhow. you don't usually display figures all around. You usually only use 2 or 3 sides of the houses anyhow, so that'll give me 1. And then same with this. I'm going to get 1 out of this, probably this direction, and that'll give me literally 4 houses. Unfortunately, the farmhouse is destroyed, so one side's going to be really destroyed. But I think it'll work, and I got this idea from Manny Gentili, telling me to cut these things up, paint them. I've never painted any of these before, so we're going to go ahead and put a primer on this and paint these up different colors, more colonial, and see how they look. Okay, so Manny, great idea. These score nice. All you got to do is score them and snap them. Soft plastic, awesome. This one, hard plastic, yeah, not so much, man. I'm not sure if I'm going to have to run that through a saw without snapping it, but these newer ones that are hard plastic, not as easy to do as this soft plastic. Okay, I made my decision and I cut the wood. Just to give you some idea, this water comes in 18 inches wide. That bridge span is 18 inches wide. The width of the box to put it in is 18 inches wide. I mean, this is just coming out perfect for me for this bridge. I decided to make this piece 7 inches, which will cover this to here, and that will be inlaid in the foam, and then the foam will come on both sides, so that'll look nice. I'll do the same thing with this piece here. These 2 pieces will be glued together, and this will all be one foam. Now this is 18 inches wide from here to here, and then what's left over are these 2 pieces, and this piece with this piece in the box will be 18 inches wide. So everything should fit inside the box that I'm ordered, and as you can see, I already cut the 2 buildings. Now this one had to be cut with a saw. Just be aware of that if you're buying the hard plastic ones. I was afraid of cracking it with a knife and trying to score it, so this one, very easy, the soft plastic. So I'm gonna use those just as backdrop, and that gives me a lot more area here for figures, and still gives me room on this side to possibly put maybe a wall or a fence or something on that side. So that's my decision. Now it's time to glue the foam to the MDF. Okay, so what you can see here is I placed the foam piece on top of that and just cut out the section, inlaid it in there, and I think it's nice. Kind of leveled it right to that, so it's about, well, you can see, 1 inch thick, and I think that'll be perfect. And just a correction that I made, I thought this was 18 inches wide. This is actually 16 inches wide, so it's 16, and these 3 together will be 16. This is going to be 18, but that's okay because it can lay underneath that, and that'll actually hold it down, keep it from curling up like that. Still got to take a heat gun to that and level it out. Okay, so we're ready to mount the foam. I've cut both sections, or I guess 4 sections if you will, inlaid the ends of the bridges into the foam, and I'm not gonna glue these down tight just in case, one day I want to sell just the bridge, or somebody doesn't like it, wants to take it apart, whatever. But for right now, I'm just going to mount the foam, let that dry overnight. Then I can start spray painting my buildings. And here's the first coat. I'm making one house red, one house white. The white one's going to have black shutters. Not quite sure what I'm doing with this one yet. While that's drying, I just got a package in the mail, so we're gonna go ahead and open this up. Now, I've been ordering these flags from John for several years now. He makes perfect 1/32 scale flags from any era, I think from the Knights up into World War II. So if you're into anything from those eras, like I said, World War I, World War II, I think he even does like Alamo, possibly Wild West, but he specializes in Civil War and especially Revolutionary War. So I'm going to take these out and show you the quality of these flags that he makes for me. Now, when these come to you, they're usually creased folded a little bit, like they're blowing in the wind, which I love. But if you want to change that, or if you want to do something different, he gives you the instructions on how to either straighten it out or make different ways. But these were the two British ones that I ordered. I believe it's 14th foot. So those go with the British. This was the colonial flags that were used, the 2nd Virginia Regiment, and the Don't Tread on Me one, the white one. And then this was a 5th flag. You get an order of 5 flags, so you can pick a 5th flag. But these are definitely the 4 that are going to be used in this playset, and he does awesome job. Like I said, you can see it on both sides. If it was meant to be on both sides, if not, you know, you'll see the difference. But it's awesome. And he puts these on wire, heavy-duty wire, and he grinds it down to a tip at the top. I don't know if you can see that, but they are very nice. This wire does not bend. I don't know if he uses piano wire or what, but it is solid. So check him out. He is on eBay. He's been on eBay for years, and you can buy, I think, sets of a single flag, 3, 5, and up. Okay, so it's the next day, and you can see these have dried nicely. So we have a white house I'm going to work on highlighting, the red one, and these have dried. The foam is glued to the MDF board. You can see I used some spackle just to fill in a few of the holes on the sides. You're not going to see that anyhow. It'll be painted over. These two I connected. So this is going to be, if you will, the one side of the bridge. Once they come out of the box, you only have this one line here. I'm going to do my best to cover that up when I do my paint job and put all the gravel on there and such. So now what I'm planning on is figuring out where these backdrop houses are going to be. I think one's going to be there possibly, and the second one most likely there. This damaged house, I'm going to put it closer to the front because those are the ones that the British would have hit first and damaged. This one's not going to have any battle damage yet, so it'll be towards the back. And then that'll also help cover up that line, as well as, you know, this line here, but you're hardly going to see that at all. So again, the bridge is coming down here. The roadway will continue, and that's where we're at. So today is going to be kind of carving some of this out. Not going to do a whole heck of a lot of carving. I don't think we're going to go deeper. I need to make some rock formations on the front of this where the water is going to be, and then work on these houses. Now, when it comes to the houses, I do want to put some windows in here, some glass. And what do I use for it? Well, don't go to the hobby shops and pay a lot of money for plexiglass or anything like that. Just go grocery shopping, find yourself any container that's clear, and use that. That's what I use on all my diorama houses, and cuts very easy, and you can glue it right on the back of these and put some broken windows in here, and I think it'll look nice. All right, now this is the fun part, designing the town area. First off, I have this material from, I believe, Lexmark again. It came out in Halloween, and you see it with the Christmas towns, it just comes in rolls. I've never used it, so I'm gonna see if I can't glue this down. I made a strip as a walkway coming out of the first house, and I'll probably have some type of fencing here. Remember, this was a town, lots of civilians around, so it would be, you know, gardens and whatnot. Also, on this house, I decided to do a walkway this direction, just for something a little different. I'll probably put a different type of fence in front of this house, or maybe just leave it open. But yeah, I thought that'd be kind of neat, having a little walkway coming out of their houses. Then here, after the fence, I'm gonna have a little bit of this dirt. Now this is raised, and I bought these from George Guerrero, Minuteman Toy Soldiers, I believe is the name of his company, years ago. And I say years ago, I mean it had to have been at least 15, 20 years ago I bought these. Never used them really, and they're very rubber. They were made for miniature gamers, because this was actually a dirt road for a tank. So you can see for the probably 28 millimeter or whatever. So if I put two of those together, that makes a roadway almost even to the bridge, the size of the bridge roadway, and it gives it a little elevation. I think if I glue these down, I'll just have to cut this right here in the middle where it separates, but if I glue those down, glue the little pathway over here, fill it in with some spackle, I think we should be good. Hopefully this rubber will bond to the glue I use, and yeah, then we can start putting in the grassy areas. Again, this battle took place in December, so there wasn't a lot of green grass. You know, it's Chesapeake, Virginia in the summertime. It's still fairly close to my house. We do have some green grass in the winter, but it's mostly brown. So I'm probably gonna be painting this all a light brown and then going over it with some lighter greens. I'm probably gonna have to lighten that up a little bit. Now, while the black wash is doing its thing on these two houses, let me show you how to make some divots in your plain flat foam. So, nature is not totally flat, nor is it totally square. You never want to have perfectly flat terrain, even if it's just little things like this, like valleys and divots. Now, I know a lot of people cut them and then sand them, but let me tell you, there's a little secret. Some of you diorama guys will know this, but if you can get yourself one of these, it is perfect for making these little divots. And again, it seals it, it hardens it, and you don't have to do anything. Let me just show you real quick. And again, I've already done this area here, but you just go over it. The longer you do it, the deeper it's going to get. Again, it makes it look more natural once it's painted. Again, it's not huge divots. Your figures will still stand up in there. It's not like you're making a foxhole or anything like that, but it's just showing the undulation of the ground. You know, unless you want something totally flat like a road, the farmers' fields and things like that would have a little ups and downs and divots. So I'm going to do that to these other two boards, and then we're going to work on gluing this down and see how that turns out. Okay, so what you're looking at here is a big frickin' mistake. The liquid nails did not hold that rubber road bed. They peeled right up. I've never had liquid nails not hold anything that I glue down, but apparently this must be some type of latex, I guess, and it doesn't hold. So it held very good on the bricks. So if you have this material, liquid nails works great holding that down, but not on this rubber road bed. So I'm going to go to plan B, taking off all this glue, trying to salvage this playset board. And I'm probably just going to go with my normal latex caulking mixed with gravel. I'll raise it up, look like a road bed like I always do, and just go with that. Okay, folks, so what we have here is what I call trying to fix a fucking mess. It is the next day. Of course, the paint's all dry. I put a second coat of the brown on just so it would, if it does show through, you'll see brown. These are tacked down nicely. I have outlined where my two houses will be. Of course, I peeled off all this as best I could and sanded it down. Now, my fixed solution for this is paintable latex caulking. I'm going to tint it the same brown color as this, and then I'm going to throw in some ballast, and then we're just going to smooth it out onto the road bed, of course over here on the walkway, and hopefully within a day or so that should dry, hopefully, but that's the plan. Okay, so here's what it looks like after you, what I call smearing the frosting on a cake. It is the caulking with some brown paint mixed in. Didn't do a lot, didn't really go dark because I'm going to be painting this anyhow. Make sure you buy latex paintable caulking. You would definitely need that if you plan on painting this. And all I'm going to do now is cut my line here to divide the two pieces and finish a little bit of a walkway here to the house. And all I use, like I said, when I'm spreading it, take an old playing card, so this way you can just throw it away. Don't have to worry about using a spackle knife or anything like that. And again, depends how smooth you want it. This would obviously be going over by horse and buggy or a lot of tracks, so I'm making mine look a little more rough. But if you wanted something very flat like a road bed, don't mix in the gravel and just smooth it out. So the next project I need to think about is the two sides that are going to be facing the water. As you can see, I put in the bridge side. This is the short side. This has nice rocks formed in here. I did put a little black wash on there to kind of make them more noticeable. I made two of these rock, I painted them, and these are just reissue marks, rock walls. My plan was to put one on each side. However, I didn't. It was an afterthought, and I didn't think about the size of this. So my thought now is to put one rock wall on that side of the water, one on this side of the water, and just take some stones that I have, kind of build it up, make it a rock wall, even on this little piece here. Even if I would have centered it, I still would have had some extra on the sides. So I think the best thing to do right now, and then what I'm going to do is, after I glue these in, I still will carve in like rocks down here where they would have been below those, because the water line is on that bottom board right there underneath it. So the water material is not going to come up here. It's going to be sitting down low and flat. So that's my next project right now while the caulking is drying. I think I'm going to do that. I'm going to go with maybe even center this one and put small rocks on either side, and then on this one just do something like this: small rocks, big rocks, and then paint those after the glued. Now anytime I'm using real material like rocks, I always go with full strength Elmer's glue. Seems to do the best. I'll then come back and put a Mod Podge over top of that just to hold it down again. But the big rocks, things like that, I always use Elmer's glue. Okay, so let me catch you up to speed. These are drying right now. I did the several coats of dirt, and you can see still needs to dry yet. I repainted these, put some tall grass in there. Again, this is occurring in December, so the dirt, the grass would not be very green, especially the plant life, more brownish. Same with the turf. So you can see that there. And then over here, I'm working on the fence. So I have a 2-section fence and a 1-section fence I'm putting together from butternut and blue, just like I did for the Gettysburg playset. So I'll glue these together and paint them brown and gray and add them to the set. Well, as you can see here, I am fairly done with the foam boards. I think they turned out okay. Again, I'm still having some problems with the glue. Maybe you like that look, maybe you don't. You can see where the glue like dried and changed the color of the dirt. I don't know. Maybe it looks blended in, maybe it doesn't. But I'm done. I'm done turfing. I've been turfing for 3 days in a row. Every day I come out and the glue dries and it's different, and then I put some more on and changes the color again. So I'm leaving it like this. Majority of this is going to be covered up anyhow by figures, so I'm not too worried about it. The road bed turned out okay. The walkway is okay. I just finished the fence here, so again, I think it's coming along. Of course, the box arrived just in time. Now working on what figures are going to go on here, and I've narrowed that down to the hat figures that I purchased. Got them all bagged, all painted. What I'm going to do right now, I believe, is just paint the bases like I did for the Gettysburg set, and we'll be done. I have a few rock formations I'm going to be putting in the water. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this, and I think it's time to take some videos of figures on the Battle of the Great Bridge in Chesapeake, Virginia, 1775. Thanks for watching, and as always, keep on collecting.